This is the evening news from Moscow. You're listening to simultaneous interpretation from the Russian by John Glad. The program is entitled News 1. This is Channel 1 from Moscow. In our relations with the West, we see mistrust being replaced by confidence. President Bush has declared that he will be undertaking disarmament steps. We see competition developing in our Commonwealth. There are problems over the Crimea and the future of the army and the fleet. This is being resolved in Moscow, Kiev, Sevastopol. The miners might not be striking, but the medical personnel are. We see the International Flight Center, Space Flight Center is on the eve of, it may be striking, but we saw a successful docking between the Progress and Mir space vehicles. We have a lot of competition developing within the Commonwealth. These problems with the army and fleet might endanger Russian-Ukrainian relations. Having divided the property of the Union, the politicians began dividing up rockets and tanks. So here's our special report from our correspondent in Sevastopol, where the military port is. It's like a city under siege. There's water only once a day for 2 hours. In the last half year, there's only been hot water one time on New Year's Eve. People have to get water from tank trucks. There's one truck for each region, and it's getting more and more difficult because for 3 months there has been no gasoline. Some people have supplies, but a 20-liter canister of gas costs 170 rubles. Some of the regions are running out of electricity, are not being given electricity. There's only one store where you can buy milk, and that's a city with 500,000 people. Sometimes cisterns are brought up with milk, but you have to get in line at 3 a.m. Ukrainian coupons are falling in price very rapidly. You can buy one coupon for 2 rubles. That's almost nothing. There's almost no medicine in the military hospital. Not to mention the other hospitals. There's no bandaging material or cast materials. All the problems are being blamed by Kiev on Moscow and by Moscow on Kiev. Most of the officers don't have any apartments. Here's Captain Ryzhov, who was in the Navy 18 years, was lucky. He's a refugee from Baku, and thus his family got a small apartment. His neighbor Gromov, who was on an atomic submarine for 20 years, is less lucky. He can't even hope to get an apartment. The wives of the officers say that their husbands could even serve the devil, as long as they don't lose their apartments and keep getting coupons. Here we see the Black Sea Fleet exercises. Here we see for the 3rd time they've canceled the swearing-in. There was a solemn march, but afterwards the commander had to read a statement to the effect that the swearing-in had been canceled for the 3rd time, and he had explained this to the parents who had come for to see the ceremony. This has led to a situation where certain soldiers in the Caucasian regions are refusing to swear an oath. Others want to serve only Russia or Ukraine, but those are only the first results of the division of the Black Sea Fleet. Evidently, at a critical moment, a soldier can be loyal to only one oath. In Belarusia, they were proper and correct with regard to this motorized unit, where they had a swearing-in of new recruits who had never served before. Each sovereign state has the right to have its own army. However, the republics of the Commonwealth, who are creating national guards or privatizing parts of the former Soviet army, should not forget that military groupings may make the situation worse, as is the case with Nagorno-Karabakh, where we continue to receive military reports. There was a largest conflict there heretofore near the village of Karantai, Karantak in the Shushinsk region. A correspondent of TASS was told that an Azerbaijani unit killed 20 people, and there were that many wounded. From Karantak, we have heard that there were 60 killed, but the Azerbaijani sources are not providing any figures to us on casualties. Today, once more, the city of Shusha was fired upon, and 10 houses were blown up. There are casualties. This is within the area of the blockade, and there's been no drinking water for a week in the area. Today, at a press conference in Baku, the president of Azerbaijan, Ayaz Mutalibov, spoke about Nagorno-Karabakh. Today, persons who want to peacefully settle this conflict, which was forced upon us, we see that this is a territorial question. I have expressed regret over the fact that the treatment and discussion of these events in the world press is anti-Azerbaijani and tendentious. Supposedly the Azerbaijani side is to blame, and the Azerbaijanis have no greater pleasure than to attack Armenians and burn their homes, but the truth is the reverse. I have, however, stressed that we stand for a peaceful resolution of the conflict. We do not wish to involve anyone else, get anyone else entangled here. This is an internal question, a question of principle for Azerbaijan, and no matter how difficult it might be for us, and no matter how great our losses might be, we will not turn to any institutions abroad so as not to internationalize this conflict as the Armenians wish to do. That was the point of view of the president of Azerbaijan, Ayaz Mutalibov. The Caucasus is a giant conflict. Georgia, Chechnya, Ingushetia. We have conflicting reports coming from the area. The military council and the provisional government of Georgia have denied the truth of our report yesterday that 20,000 supporters of the former president of Georgia have blockaded the building where the government is housed. According to the prefect of the city of Poti, there are problems there. Alexander Bakhatov, who is our correspondent, has reported that in Poti, government troops, that there's firing from howitzers and artillery. From Tbilisi, we also have a report. We have a normal situation in Tbilisi. There is a demonstration. This is Tengiz Sigwa, who is the head of the provisional government of Georgia. There was a demonstration in support of the ex-president Gamsahurdia. We have order in the city. We have transportation functioning normally. We have the enterprises functioning, but not totally, because there's a shortage of electricity. It's a very difficult time for the provisional government of Georgia. There are demonstrations in support of Gamsahurdia, where they call for general civic disobedience. One of their basic demands has to do with the liberation of the Minister of Finances and other officials of the Georgian government, but they have been arrested not for political acts, but for criminal acts, for embezzling government funds. The continuation of provocations is taking place. Yesterday, for example, unknown persons shot up the building where the commander of the Transcaucasian region, his family lives. There was a report that 10 Greeks were killed in the area. We spoke to the Greeks in the area, and they said this was not the case. Nevertheless, in spite of the situation, the Cabinet of Ministers is not putting off its most difficult questions and the resolution. By the spring planting, the presidents will receive the land free. There will be privatization. The universities will be autonomous. There will be a registration of political parties, which was shut down in the last months of the dictatorial Gamsakhourdia regime. Gamsakhourdia is in the city of Grozny. According to the head of the provisional government, Sigua, this is a report by phone from Chechnya-Ingushetia. If we can believe in rumors, the ex-president of Georgia, Gamsakhourdia, and his family is now in the capital of the Chechen Republic, but we cannot verify this. Mr. Dudayev did not want to answer the questions. He said that he had no information. The Chechen Republic has a lot of problems. Among them, the relations with Chechnya-Ingushetia. We see a demonstration here when the parliament had wanted to reorganize the government and territory, and the local population was not in agreement, all the more so in that part of the territory of the region should become part of the Chechen Republic. The situation is worsening.